Hello everyone, my name is Limit, and today we're making a video analyzing and putting on a tier list all of the different emblems that are available in Fire Emblem Engage, including the bracelets that are from the DLC. I have a little over 120 hours on the game, played throughout since release of Fire Emblem Engage, and I have had a wonderful time with it. And alongside the input of people who watch us during the stream and of course other people who play the game, I think we're quite equipped to give a reasonable analysis of the effectiveness of these rings. Hopefully we are, hopefully. So let's begin. Let's begin with the very first one, the Emblem of Beginnings. We have Marth. I have the game up over here so we could also check out the skills as we go along here. Marth is a great evasive ring. You get him first, and he's quite strong in the early game, especially with Lodestar Rush. It's an incredible multiple hit attack that increases your attacks by 30%. Also, the opponent cannot hit back, so that is a massive boon to chunk down people up or to get an execute to get lethal on your opponent. Very strong, fairly strong. And you have early access to Mercurius, a weapon that not only is very strong, but it doubles the experience that you earn, further increasing your opportunities to level up, get those nice levels. You also have access to Unyielding and Avoid 30 on the later stages of the game, and as well as Perceptive. Very high avoidance, very high survivability with Unyielding, where you regain some of your HP. You also have access to Falchion, but that's not really the highlight of Marth's kit. It is mostly in Avoidance and Mercurius and Lodestar Rush, if I'm being perfectly honest. And you also have Divine Speed. Performs an extra attack at 50% in damage combat. So it's a very offensive ring. Survivability is there as well. You become sort of like an off tank by dodging things out. But with that being said, his kit is quite normal. It's quite average to what the other rings really give. And the fact that you get him very early on, where his powers really shine, there's no other options. I think we're gonna place him at B tier. So we're gonna put the very first ring at B, solidly right in the middle. Right, where the hell is Marth in this list? There it is. All right, Marth is in B tier for me. Now moving on, let's go check out Celica, known as the Emblem of Echoes from Fire Emblem Echoes of Valencia, I think. Valencia, yeah. Alright, right off the bat, I'll tell you guys right now, she is quite important in terms of the utility that she gives. You have your magic proficiency. You're gonna need that a lot right before level 10, because there will be a part of the game where you don't have access to Celica, and it's going to be quite difficult. So this is a bit of a spoiler, but just make sure that people that you intend to be growing into a magical class or usage of tomes, you make sure that Celica has her bond fragments trained up with that unit with magical proficiency. Seraphim is great in the early game. Echo is okay-ish if you have the opportunity to get lethal on two with like two somewhat damaged units. You can get lethal, you can get double kills for the act of one. Holy Stance is okay, even in the later game, even later parts of the game, it's kind of okay with Holy Stance plus, where specifically corrupted, get damaged back for any damage that they deal. So that usually means lethal for them, to be honest. But at the same time, whoever you're using with Celica, you don't probably want them getting damaged, because you're probably using it on a magic class. You're probably making sure that these are the units that go in, gets your kills, and gets out. Basically assassin units, especially with Warp Ragnarok, When I say assassin units, I mean not an assassin class, but like you have a mage that would go in, get the kill, get out safely, or ensure at least a very critical kill at a juncture where you can keep them safe. That's typically where you're gonna want Celica at. So Warp Ragnarok is pretty good, but it can put you in dicey situations. More often than not, when I use Warp Ragnarok in what I deemed as a safe spot, sometimes it really isn't. So the fact that I can only use one time during that cycle of your engagement kind of puts that user or that ring in peril. So I would say, while really strong offensively, it's not that great. It's great, but it's not that great at the same time. Also, you have favorite food, which I think is the highlight of Celica's kit. You give favorite food to somebody using Makaya's ring, which we'll get into later. But with that being said, with that support, she's kind of teetering between B plus and A for me. But because of that utility and that ability to get lethal, I would say she's at least A tier. At least A tier. Alright? Just because of that opportunity for lethal. So, let's move on. We have Sigurd, known as the Emblem of the Holy War. Right off the bat, very strong with that +5 on movement. Right? You got Gallop, grants +5 movement. The Louis Sigurd combo is quite often used because of how much utility it gives the tank, which is traditionally of lower movement. You get this massive tank zooming into the map, and you see a lot of units that you see a cluster of units where there's no one casting magic. You put Louis there, he's near invulnerable, they just crash into him and then they just die trying to kill Louis when they deal 0 to no damage to Louis. It's great for movement. Override skill, not that great. More often than not, when you use your override skill, you're probably overextending. You can have some great uses off of it. You might have some great times using it, but more often than not, you're not really using it when you're behind. You're using it when you're ahead, because if you're behind and you use override, you go through that cluster of 3 or more units, and you're on the other side of the team. That cluster of units will probably just kill whoever is using Sigurd in the next turn. Momentum is great for more damage. You got the sword proficiencies and your lance proficiencies. Later in the game, you also have access to turfing, which increases your resistance, which is great specifically for Louis. The more I talk about this ring, the more I'm convinced it's just made for Louis, to be honest. And you got access to Brave Lance. It attacks twice. It does massive damage if you land it. It's pretty great. So yeah, Louis on Sigurd, 10 out of 10. But Sigurd in a vacuum, I would say, just because of the movement, and movement is king, I would say A tier, right up there with Celica. Same reason, Warp Ragnarok, because placement and movement, and Canter, by the way, teaching Canter on a unit gives you that hit and run opportunity, gives you that placement advantage. So Sigurd in A. Moving on, let's move on to our next ring. We have Leaf, the Sage Lord, the Emblem of Genealogy. Oh boy, Leaf. Oh man. Let's start with good things I can say about Leaf. Build tree, not really good. Adaptable when you're receiving on when you're on the defensive end, you hit with the better weapon. Quadruple hit is okay, I guess. It ensures a break, that much is for sure, unless it's an armored unit, then you don't get a break. You have bow proficiency. You have knife proficiency, stab proficiency. This is very, very important. Stab proficiency, you have limited access to this particular proficiency at a certain time in the game. That's a bit of a spoiler, but the fact that you have all of these proficiencies on Leaf he is more or less the support emblem. He is a foundational emblem. You don't really use him. You're happy to have Leaf because you wanna improve your units, but you're not happy to have Leaf on a unit. Is, I guess, the best way to put that on. Vantage is great, but Vantage is not unique to Leaf, unfortunately. So even his special attack quadruple hit, while it is still a very strong attack, just because of virtue that you're hitting 4 times, it's not the attack that you would probably be super happy to use. It's just, oh, it's there, great, I use it if you have it available. If you're using Leaf on a character, it's great to have. Not exactly the best thing. And you have Killer Axe, which is literally Killer Axe that you can buy. So Leaf, I would say, is unfortunately the very first emblem that I would put in the D tier. Sorry, Leaf. Sorry, buddy. Sorry. Anyway, moving on. We have Roy. Okay, here Roy is a mixed bag. Roy is a mixed bag. Okay, let's look at his skills. He's got strength. It gives attacks. It gives stronger attacks. You got advance, which is kind of like reverse run through. No, not reverse run through, but like a more progressive form of run through. You move 1 space towards a foe, and then you attack. You also have hold out, which is great. It keeps your units alive. If you had 10 HP or more at start of combat, you will always survive with 1 HP, always just buying you that one more turn, or that one more hit, or that opportunity to just make sure that that unit lives. And then you have holdout plus at level 18. This is very, very late in the game though. And if you have done Roy's Paralog. Okay. Roy is a bit of a redundancy when it comes to all of the sword users in our emblem roster, right? His skill, Blazing Lion, is okay. It's a move, I guess. It's a technique. Like, I wouldn't be writing home about it, but it is a move. It leaves flames, does some tick damage onto a cluster of units. But with that being said, if you're using Blazing Lion on a cluster of units, then you got plus 10 damage on all of them. Like, yeah, on paper that's really good DPS, but like, I don't think Fire Emblem is that kind of game. Fire Emblem is more chess-like in its... Well, yes, the bosses do tend to be more chippy when it comes to combat. More often than not, you're trying to get lethal in one turn, right? And Blazing Lion does not really help with that, to be honest. Like, you'll always need a follow-up when you need a lethal, right? Typically, you're aiming for a lethal. You might not always get lethal, but typically you're aiming for a lethal. And this technique is not helping with that. Rise Above, though, grants levels +5, so you're getting stats of... you're basically falsely boosting your units, which is great. Which makes Roy really just a stat booster. Depending on what path you're playing, you could be playing on easy, or normal, or hard, or maddening. This could be a lifesaver, but at the same time, if you're relying on Roy to buy you out of a situation, I don't think you're in a very good spot tactically or strategically. So with that being said, while having Roy is great, especially with holdout. Now, for my personal experience, I placed Roy in my dancer only because not for the offensive aspect of it, but for the holdout, just to buy that one extra life, just in case they try to beeline for my dancer. My dancer will have that survivability, and then I could just save my Dancer. I'm pretty sure there's better uses for holdout. That's just the solution that I found myself. So I am, and even if my Dancer didn't have holdout, that just means I should be positioning my Dancer better. Just in the off chance that my Dancer does get pinned, they do have access to Wormslayer and Binding Blade, and well, obviously you got Blazing Lion. My Dancer can hit back, but overall, great ring, a good ring, decent ring. We're putting Roy on C. Roy is a C tier emblem ring. Let's move on. We have Lyn. Ooh. All right, it's time to pull out all the stops. We have Lyn, ladies and gentlemen, Emblem of Blazing. The Emblem of Blazing. All right, now for all the assassin types out there, Lyn is probably the best ring by far. For many, many reasons. Okay, you have Alacrity, right? You can attack twice immediately. You have Alacrity Plus. If your unit has this advantage of 5 or more, you can have all of your hits out before your opponent can counterattack, which typically means lethal, depending on the unit you're using it on. You have Astra Storm, which is a range of 10 all over the map, and you can hit opponents with 5 bow attacks. I think there's a modifier here because I'm pretty sure I've used bow attack Astra Storm that hit more than 5 times. And you have access to really strong bows with your Astra Storm with Killer Bow and Mugalier. Mugalier, where is it? It's right here. Mulagir, sorry, Mulagir. Right, incredibly strong weapon, incredibly strong attack, definitely lethal, more often than not, especially against a flying unit. This is quite deadly, but that is not even the creme de la creme of Lyn's kit. There's two. We have call doubles, which basically creates 4 clones of that unit equipped with this sword right here, Manikati, right? And these clones can hit back. They have when you have Lyn, you obviously have high dodge because of all of the speed boosts that you get, right? But if you give Lyn to a naturally high speed unit, you have your Jeans of the world. Well, if you train Jean, you have your Yunakas of the world. Give them to Lyn. Give Lyn to them, and their clones are sometimes stronger than the rest of your army. And here's the thing too: the clones, they pull aggro because they have an HP of 1. They have an HP of 1, so they will always pull aggro. The AI will always seek them out to kill first because they're vulnerable. But many times I've seen that the clones dodge whatever attack they're doing and then hit back. And more often than not, they also crit. So they're lethal. Not only that, every time you attack with Lyn on and the clones are out, those clones also attack. So they're like backup supports. So you have ×4 attack if all 4 survive, plus your regular attack. Plus if you have some backup hitters, all of those guys attack too. So Lyn... No, wait. I'm not done. Sorry, I'm so excited. We also have Speed Taker on Lyn. Every time a unit with Lyn as an emblem gets a kill, they get a stacking speed +2. It caps out at 10. But like getting 2 or 3 kills, which is more often than not even the likely case, you're probably getting like 5 kills, 6 kills off of units that you have Lyn on. You can max that out to 10. And by the time that you get 10, you're just dodging things left and right, and nothing can touch you. Lyn is such a powerhouse. I have yet to be convinced or impressed by any other emblem ring aside from Lin to this point. So Lin will be the first S plus ring that I shall put here. Just the power that Lin provides in this game is ridiculously strong. All right, let's move on. So yeah, use Lin on your favorite unit. Real talk, you just get wins. Next we have Erika and Ephraim. To be honest, Erika and Ephraim, the emblem of the sacred stones. Now Erika and Ephraim are unique in the fact that you kind of swap between two of them. Sorry. Oopsies. There we go. Back. They have really neat skills. They have really cool skills. First off, let's begin with the Erika side of things. You have Lunar Brace. Lunar Brace is if the unit initiates combat with a physical attack, deals extra damage 20% of the foe's defense. So you get that boost. You get that extra boost of damage. Where's Solar Brace? Oh, does it not say here? Solar Brace heals. No, I guess it doesn't show the part. Well, Solar Brace heals. I guess it doesn't say here. But yeah, Solar Brace heals. So if you have a unit that you use for assassin missions, pretty much, that person will not die because they will always heal. Plus you have dodge tiers up to dodge plus 30. So in the off chance that they do get hit, specifically with backups, you just heal back that damage up with gentility and bravery, especially when you have your Lunar Brace on. Their special attack, Sacred Twins, engaging Erika changes Lunar Brace to Eclipse Brace and Gentility to Blue Skies for all allies. Twin Strike, sorry, that is the attack. Sorry, that's not the attack. This is the attack. Use the sword attack and then followed up by a lance attack by Ephraim. This also heals as well. It's a very strong damage because you have that boost. Especially effective against Corrupted, but ultimately Erika is like your off-tank emblem. Once I have trained my... And you go and swap in and out with them using the skill Night and Day, and you have access to amazing swords such as the Wind Sword, which is pretty much a wind spell in a sword. And you have Siglinde and Rapier, which is damaging to armored units and cavalry. Sorry. Oh, where are we? Here we go. Overall, great ring. Very strong for survivability. High offense stats. But that is if you have an assassin kind of unit. If you have a very strong unit that you want survivability on, you probably want Erika on them. A tier. We're putting that on A tier. Where is Erika? Here she is. Okay, Erika is on A tier. Moving on. We have Ike, the emblem of Radiance. Oh my goodness. Ike and Diamant is a match made in heaven. Slap Ike on Diamant and Diamant becomes your personal powerhouse that just tanks through everything. Wrath is great. At the start of combat, for each HP the unit has lost, grants crit +1, maxing out at 30. More often than not, you have units, specifically Diamant, you have him on 80 HP at a certain point. So this is nothing. You have Ragnell. You have access to Ragnell, which is basically a magical sword. It also grants defense. Oh my goodness. Irvan grants resistance. An amazing axe. And you have Hammer. Where's Hammer? Your anti-cavalry armored unit weapon. It's pretty much a smash weapon. But all of that ties in with this, probably one of the best engaged attacks in the game. Great Aider. Used to grant defense and resistance 5, but unit cannot counter for 1 turn. So you're basically taunting them. You're just standing in the middle. You have boosted up defense and resistance. And then, for all of that damage, for all that hurt that you took, in your next turn, you're gonna smash for a massive area. I believe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 squares. No, 2 space area. So no, it's not just 11 squares. So plus 2. Whatever plus 2 is. 2 space area. And then you heal for all of that damage. More often than not, I've gotten like 4 to 5 kills plus a full heal using Diamant plus Ike with Great Aether. Amazing, amazing Emblem Ring. And again, mostly because of that skill. And the lower HP gets, the stronger you become. Just like really boosting your defenses and just making you that powerhouse of a vanguard of sorts. So you slap this on. Ideally, you put this on Diamant, but put it on whoever unit you feel is worthy. You push them forward. They attract aggro. All of your opponents gather around to try to attack this guy. Boom! You get a couple of kills. You damage a lot of people, and then you finish off with the rest of your army. Amazing, amazing Emblem Ring, especially with all the defenses that it offers, all the support that it offers. Amazing, amazing ring. Oop. We lost Diamant. We lost Ike. Where is Ike? We are putting Ike on A tier. Again, another amazing and incredible, solid emblem. Great with Diamant. Of course, however your team is set up, use it on the most appropriate proxy. Also, reposition is a thing, by the way, on Ike. Making sure that you can get those optimal ways to position your team, your units. You're basically pulling a unit out of where they're from when they're right beside that unit that has Ike. Can make that you can make that space, open that space up, especially if you're using multiple units to attack. Open that space up for another follow-up attack. Your position is great. Oh yeah, and Lagus friend. Unit takes 50 less damage. So you'll always get hit, but 50 less damage. Again, just a wonderful support defense kit, and then big damage afterwards. Amazing, amazing ring. Alright, let's move on to the next one. We have Micaiah. Oh boy. Micaiah, the follow-up to Ike's game. The Radiant Dawn. Emblem of Dawn. Alright, you get Micaiah fairly early on. Now, she is one of the most support centric units, right? You do get access to really strong tomes at later stages of your bonds with her. You get Shine, you get Nosferatu, where you get heals, and then you get Thani, which is like an anti-armored unit cavalry spell. Let me just put it out there. Other than Lyn, Micaiah is the strongest ring in terms of like breaking the game. Why, Limit? Well, my friend, you have this skill called Great Sacrifice. Used to restore full HP to all allies, even those not under the player's control. After use, unit's HP goes to 1. So you sacrifice most of your HP, 99% of your HP, to heal everybody. Now, what does this do effectively? This is your power leveling tool. Uh, Combine that with favorite meal. Not favorite meal. Let me check what it is. Combine that with a favorite food, which max out your emblem energy. You could repeat this process and get a bunch of experience over and over again for any unit that you want to build up and catch up to the powerhouses of your team. Not only that, of course, it ensures healing for everybody. And Micaiah has one of the earlier accesses to staff proficiency, which you are going to need because you will lose access to Micaiah at a certain point in the game. Just an amazing ring overall. It kind of makes sure that your team survives. It makes sure that whoever uses it gets power leveled. You can use this on training maps and just keep on doing that great sacrifice mechanic over and over again. Get that person caught up to the levels, and you can even out the levels that way. Just an amazing tool. Not to mention she has really strong support as well for resistance. So you have the Louis of the world, or anybody or any unit, to be honest, that has very low resistance. You slap that on them, boom, they're healed. Not healed, but like they're back into fighting action. You also have access to Silence Ward. It doesn't happen often, but you do get opponents that silence you. And Healing Light. When a unit heals an ally with a staff, unit also recovers 50% of the HP healed. So if you have Healing Light on and you have a support unit that will heal, and you do have access to a lot of support units, because a lot of these units in the late game or advanced classes will have access to staves. And that's why you need staff proficiency so much in this game, so that you could advance them to those classes. Really great ring. I will put Micaiah in S class. Amazing ring. Oh. Alright, let's move on. Next we have Lucina, World of the Princess Exalt, the Emblem of Awakening. Ooh. Okay. What's so great about Lucina? Well, Lucina is... This ring is, by and large, a support ring, in my opinion. Like, but Limit, look at all the offensive skills it has. Yeah, but like, that's not where the meat and potatoes of Lucina's ring is. The meat and potatoes of Lucina's ring is it gives any unit the ability to participate in a attack. Right? If a unit is able to chain attack, unit will do so when allies attack foes unit could reach by moving. As long as that unit can reach them, they will support, and you will get that extra hit. So Limit, where do you usually use this? I use Lucina on my sniper, specifically Alchrist. Terror de Elite, I think is his class name. Having Lucina on my sniper ensured that every time we attacked, Alchrist was there to participate. Literally every single one, because I equip him a longbow, which expands his range. Right, put him in the middle of the team. Every person that will attack in that team, Alchrist will say, "Hi, let me help. Hi, let me help. Hi, let me help." So that just boosts your overall DPS across the board in your whole team. Now, obviously, that's my approach to it. There's probably smarter ways to use Lucina's support attacks better, but for my 120 something hour playthrough, that's the best solution that I found. Also, you have access to Parthia, which is basically Mercurius but in bow form, double earned experience, because keep in mind Lucina is thematically based off of Marth, if you guys played Awakening. And yeah, but at later levels, when you get Dual Assist Plus, that literally means that every time you do an attack, whoever is carrying Lucina will participate and will join in that attack, and you have noble rapier for your armored and cavalry units. All for one, use to make a sword attack against an adjacent foe. All eyes within 2 spaces, chain attack. It's good. It's great. This would be more useful in harder difficulties when backups really shine, backup attacks really shine, because they kind of bypass all of the avoid shenanigans and kind of ensures a static amount of damage. So this is great for that, but aside from really deep strategization, if you're just playing normally or you're just going through hard mode and you're just plowing through everything, all for one, it doesn't really shine all that well. Bonded Shield is a better version of Chain Guard, really strong, and you don't get damaged at all. Pretty strong version of Chain Guard, highly recommended, very high in support. And yeah, that's Dual Strike, which is padded on the Dual Assist. Overall, great ring. Has the dexterity support when it comes to stats. You have the Parallel Falchion. I rarely use that one, just because you have so many swords that are better, and again, that's not where Lucina's kit shines, but where it does shine, it shines very bright. So we will put Lucina on 8 here. 8 here. Alright, now let us move on. Oh, we have only 7 left. Oh boy. Alright, moving on. We have Corrin, Crux of Fate, the Emblem of Fates. Ooh. Ooh, Corrin is Corrin is spicy. Alright, let's begin. Let's put in the reasons why Corrin is spicy. Dragon Vein. Use to add a special effect to certain spaces, depending on your class, depending on what job you have with Corrin. This Dragon Vein mechanic changes. It could be a healing. It could be like a massive area of healing. It could be a massive area of fog if you're having a covert unit. A massive area of flames, massive area of water. Depends on what kind of unit you're using. Very great, especially for units such as Yunaka, which has plus 15 crit under fog or increased avoid spaces or tiles. Or you give this to a Valkyrie unit, a Griffin Knight. Like how I used it, the way I use it, I put Corrin and Chloe. You have pools of healing, and you can basically heal your whole team for any of the tick damage or any massive damage they're getting. Aside from those two, I didn't really personally use her outside, just because this ring is very strong. Dreadful Aura basically roots your opponent, and not just that, it roots your opponent and the ones beside them. This is an incredible tool. It's an amazing crowd control tool, and it makes sure that you have access to safety for some of your units that might be more vulnerable, or you can line up a bunch of units and then you take them out in a AoE attacks. There are some AoE attacks here. Speaking of AoE attacks, you have your Torrential Roar. Used to attack 3 spaces in line, turning those spaces into water terrain. And then with that being said, Dreadful Aura also expands into that attack. So if they have units besides them, the Dreadful Aura spreads out, which is an amazing combo attack, and really puts Corrin in the higher echelons of the rings. Now the reason why I use Corrin as a support tool mostly, not as an offensive tool, because of quality time. After each unit attacks or waits, restores 5 HP to adjacent allies, slightly increases support with them. It's just an amazing constant heal tool that you have, helping everybody. And you have your Draconic Hex. If unit initiates combat, inflicts -4 to all foes' basic stats after combat. Right? So you start off the attack and then someone else can finish off. That's why it's more of a support tool, in my opinion. You have Pair Up as well, which is immunity to all backup attacks, chain attacks. and then improved versions of quality time and a very high HP stat support, 15 plus. So if you have somebody who's really struggling HP, toss this on them, and then you're good to go. Yato and Wakizashi dual katana, I'm not too impressed. They're pretty good, but they're not the best swords in the game. Korin overall, because of all the support and all of the amazing things that she does, easily right up there with the greats. S-class. Alright, let's move on to the next one. We got, Byleth. We have the emblem of the academy, the instructor. Alright, Byleth. Ooh. Byleth is both amazing and meh at the same time. I guess not really meh, because look at all of the things that he has access to. All of these are weapons he has access to. Right? You got your blood gang, or like all of the weapons in Three Houses you have access to. It's kind of insane. Kind of wacky, to be honest. Byleth is the Swiss Army knife of this game, more so than Roy. Oh, sorry, more so than Leaf, to be honest. Out of all these weapons, though, I mostly just use the Sword of the Creator because it's a 2-range, pretty strong. Can't really get wrong with using the Sword of the Creator. Now, what makes Byleth amazing is it depends on who you use it on. I use Byleth on Anna, and Anna's part of my main team. You can give luck plus 12 to Anna outside of just having Byleth, but I feel like it's just a really good mix for them both, because there's also this Lost and Found, which triggers with luck. Now, if you guys don't know, Anna has a skill that triggers with luck. You gain 500 gold for every kill that triggers that effect, effectively giving you more and more and more money. And plus you have Divine Plus, so that every time she might miss, it will come up as a hit. Not to mention the versatility that this gives. And that's not even the cream of the crop that Byleth provides. You have Goddess Dance. Goddess Dance is a 4-tile dance mechanic. It's like one time you can use it, but it's dance. So all your hard hitters, if you can line it up in such a way that Anna can, or not Anna, or anyone who uses Byleth can be hit by it, you automatically have another turn on those units. Use it on your dancer, so your dancer can dance another time. Use it on 3 other units that can assassinate other people. It's great. Not to mention there is a skill here that gives 1.5 XP. Where is it? Mentorship. Yeah, here we go. Mentorship. Not 1.5, but 1.2. Is there Mentorship Plus? No, there isn't. It's just 1.2. So mentorship, you slap this onto everybody, and you're basically giving everybody extra 20% of HP. This is great, but not as great as the other one that does this. The other skill that does this, because this requires your units to be clumped up together, adjacent each other. So the times that this will trigger is more than likely not as often. But we'll get to that later. But it's still pretty good. It's still pretty good, right? If you have it on somebody or a group of people, if you're using a lot of backup mechanics, this is great because your whole army gets boosted with experience. Pretty great tool. Plus, you can stack this on the other thing that I'm about to mention later. Pretty great mechanic. Overall, Byleth, depending on how you use Byleth, an amazing ring. Once again, we have Byleth. We have another entry on the A tier. Pretty good overall. All right, let's move on. All right. Oh, that is. Oh, Sorry. That is a spoiler. That is what we call a spoiler, ladies and gentlemen. Hands down, the best ring. Don't at me. It's intended to be that way. Now we're moving on to the DLC. These are all. Well, I guess that was the last. That was the last of the first 12 emblems. We are now heading on to the DLC rings, and to begin with that, we have Tiki. Tiki, you get very early on. It's part of Wave 1 DLC. And Tiki was my Alir's bracelet for 95% of the game. And all of my units in my team have been influenced by Tiki in one way or another. Why? Because Tiki is great. Tiki is amazing. How so? Well, first off, whoever wears Tiki turns into a dragon. You get Draconic form. Unit transforms into and fights as a dragon while engaged. Grants plus 10 to max HP and plus 5 to build and all basic stats. So engaging with Tiki is pretty much Leaf's Rise Above, but better. Just because you also have access to dragon skills. You have your Eternal Call, your Tail Smash, Fire Breath, Ice Breath, Dark Breath, and Fog Breath. Now with Alir, you have access to Fog Breath, which is a T-shaped flame attack, breath attack, and then on the sides of that it creates fog spaces where you could put your units to hide in or just have your covert units be incredibly strong in. And I typically get a bunch of kills with Fog Breath because it does attack as an AoE. And typically your Alir is your strongest unit more often than not. So it just gets lethal left and right. You also have Geosphere. At the start of the Flare phase, if there are allies adjacent to the unit, it grants defense plus 3 and resistance plus 3 to unit, and those allies for one turn. So that's literally every time the game starts because, well, you're all clumped up all the time. You also have HP and luck plus 4 and up to plus 10, which is again another great support to Anna. If you give her this, you get your gold triggers more often, or if you have a unit that has very little luck and survivability, because of that they always get crits triggered on them. You add this on them and boom, you have them saved. Life Sphere is a better version of Unyielding. If a unit waits without attacking or using items, restores 40 HP and heals status effects. So it's like a better Marth skill, to be honest. And not only that, you have Divine Blessing, which gives any unit you choose a Revival Stone until used and until you have your new Tiki cycle for your engage. Basically ensure survivability on a unit that you send out alone or a unit you know that gets attacked often and then they die often. You give that to them, problem solved. And the cream of the crop of Tiki's kit, you have Star Sphere. Grants unit enhanced stat growth when leveling up. Star Sphere was put on every unit that I have. All of my units that are part of my main team have Star Sphere on them. Why? Because every time they level up, there's a higher chance that they will gain more stats. This is basically Jean's expertise skill, or your standard villager skill in all the Fire Emblem games that has increased stat proficiency. This is that times everybody. So you give this to everybody. Guess what? At the end of it all your units will have better stats. Every time they level, there's a higher chance to get better stats. It's just an amazing, incredible tool. Partner this with another one that we're going to go through very soon. We'll get to that later, but this makes Tiki such a strong contender for Emblem rings that I never did not use Tiki the moment I got her. So Tiki is yet again another S-class ring. Alright, let's move on. Let me just get a drink here real quick. Oh, we have a new one, Hector. Hector is arguably a more defensive tool compared to Ike's ring, but there are some nuances. Let's go analyze that. Adaptability. You have, when hit by a foe's attack, grants defense +3 for a physical attack or resistance +3 for a magical attack after combat. Lasts until the end of the game, battle, or until activated again. This just makes sure that every time you get hit, you get more defenses. So again, it's very similar to Ike's. You have quick riposte. If unit's HP is 60% or more and foe initiates combat, unit will always follow up. So this ensures that regardless of your speed, you do get a follow-up. Piercing Glare. You use when HP is full to consume 20% of match HP and prevent foes from entering the force phase diagonally adjacent to unit for 1 turn. You trade HP for positional advantage. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to like the whole game, I don't think I've needed a time where this was incredibly required. I feel like if I needed this, I was positioned very poorly. So this is more of like you're allowed to make mistakes kind of bracelet. You have pretty good weapons with Hector. You got your rune sword, magic sword, gives you a magic attack, restores HP equal to 50% of damage dealt. So it's basically Erika's attack as well, which keeps you healthy. You have Armad's lightning charged axe wielded by Hector, grants 5 defense, effective against dragons. Then you have Wolf Beal, axe effective against armored and cavalry. You have your impenetrable. If foe initiates combat, grants defense and resistance +30 during combat. So again, it is a very defensive ring or bracelet, but with all that said and done, look at Storm Eye. Grants immunity to break, foe cannot follow up, unit follows up. Lasts 1 turn, sword and axe only. Where's the move? Hold on. When making a physical attack, if an equipped weapon's weight exceeds unit's build, add excess as damage. Yeah, one of the weaker DLCs, if I'm being very honest. You have a lot of nice tools here. You want to slap this on somebody who's on the weaker side, but overall, I don't think it's I don't think you're gonna use Hector a lot, provided you have Ike. Now, if you have an army that has heavy emphasis on defense, Hector might be great as a secondary bracelet for that. But other than that, I don't see him adding much to what we already have as a kit. The only thing that Hector does add, though, is that there will be a part in the game, there will be a period in the game where you won't have access to most of your rings, and you will have access to Hector. That is a great intermediary bracelet to support your playthrough as you go on with the game. But overall, I think Hector is a C-class ring, right beside Roy right there. All right, let's move on. We're on to our last 3. We have Sorin. Ooh, this is amazing. Sorin is amazing. I'll tell you guys right now. Sorin is an amazing bracelet. First off, you have access to bolting. You have access to reflect. You have access to Rexcalibur. All are amazing tools. Let's begin with Rexcalibur. Powerful wind magic wielded by Sorin. So it's basically your Excalibur, but massive damage. You also have Reflect, which inflicts 50% of damage against opponents for 1 turn. So if you have somebody who's really vulnerable, a target for attack, and then you put that on them, you reflect that damage on, specifically your tanks of the world. And you have bolting, long range thunder magic by Sovereign, cannot follow up. Okay, so it's your standard Thoron. But what puts that all together is this: assign decoy, used to make one of the chosen ally more likely to be targeted by enemies for one turn. Effect is removed after allies targeted by otherwise or damaged by foes 3 times. So you assign decoy on a person using Ike's Great Aether, and you at least ensure 3 hits. But that is if you just plan for 3 hits. If you have really good placement, you make sure that that person or person using Ike gets positioned in a way that all of your opponents attack him. Combined with Reflect, oh my goodness, that is probably a team wipe, a whole map wipe if you plan it effectively. Not to mention, you do have access to Sorin in the middle of the game, where most of your bracelets or most of your emblems are not active or available, and it gives you magic proficiency. And not just that, you have staff proficiency, right? I'm not lying. Yeah, there we go, staff proficiency. And knife proficiency as well. Really amazing tool for the intermediary while you don't have the rest of your rings. Not only that, you have Flare. When attacking with tomes, inflicts minus 20 resistance on the foes, and unit recovers 50% of damage dealt. Ooh, that is Nosferatu levels. Used to attack foes in the area with Fire, Thunder, Magic, Wind at 40% damage. Wind is effective versus flying. Just an amazing kit overall. They really went all out with Sorin, to be honest. Especially, and we have this Keen Insight. When unit deals effective damage, deal plus 7 more. Just an amazing support and offensive tool. Sorin is an amazing ring. Oh, sorry. And personally, I would put Sorin in S-Class once again. Alright, we are down to our last 2. Alright, let's go to Camilla. Crux of Fate, the Emblem of Revelation. Alright, so very similar to Corrin because they're from the same game, right? So whatever great things you have going for Corrin, we have also for Camilla, especially with Dragon Vein, right? And you get that mix of Lin as well. Speed plus resistance plus 1. And you get that up to plus 5. Right? You also have magic proficiency in the intermediary while you don't have Celica and Micaiah. You have axe proficiency as well. You have a Soar, grants plus 2 movement. Unit can cross terrain as if flying. So this really, this is yet again another resolution to your movements, much like Sigurd. And you have Dark Inferno, used to deal damage to foes on certain spaces near unit and set those spaces on fire. So much like Roy's attack, Blazing Blade, or whatever it is, you set a whole set of tiles on fire. You get access to some nice axes, access to axes. You got Camilla's axe, axe wielded by Camilla, grants plus 10 resistance and deals extra damage to foes, resistance minus their defense, so a pretty good damage buff. You have access to lightning, pretty good tome. That's twice, so this is your Nova basically, but for Camilla. Oh, sorry. But I think what really sets her apart is her decisive strike skill, because every time you attack it adds more damage. So if you're a little bit short on lethal, this pretty much ensures that that person is dead, especially on decisive strike plus, because you get an extra 10 damage after combat. But that is if it lands a critical. So if you put this on a high crit character like say Yunaka, there are times that you have to sacrifice might for higher crit say for example you have Yunaka with the killing edge, this pretty much ensures that that person is super dead. With that being said, it's nothing to write home about too much. It's great, but you have Corrin. They do the same thing. You have more movement here. It's great for an assassin type of unit. So I would put Camilla, honestly, right by Marth. Great across the board. Nothing too bad to say about it, but nothing that particularly excels Camilla beyond what she is offering. Pretty great bracelet. Now let's go to the very last one. We have the folks from Three Houses, which has different portraits for some reason, but they all do the same thing, and they're all counted as one bracelet. This is from the World of the Instructor, Emblem of the Rivals. This is your adaptability bracelet. And they have one of the best skills in the game, partnered up with Astrosphere, Tiki's stat boosting skill. You have Lineage. Lineage increases the unit's earned experience by 20% on their own. There's no extra shenanigans that they need to do. Every experience that they get, you just get 20% of it, not like Mentorship from Byleth. I slapped this onto all my units as well. Lineage plus Astrosphere made sure all of my units across the board, as we were going through the game, were getting a lot of experience and a lot of stats for that experience that they're earning. So from that alone, it really elevates this bracelet. But to be perfectly honest, aside from that, there's not much going for the bracelet of the Rivals. They have combat arts, which is like 3 different attacks. Depending on who is with that person at that time, because they kind of rotate. That's what Friendly Rivalry does. It rotates between Edelgard, Claude, or Dimitri. You have your Shield Gambit. When you're synced with Dimitri, negate damage from first attacks of ranged foes. Not really great. Assembly. Use to attack an agent's foe, then move 1 space away after combat. I mean, it's great for a hit and run tool, but like, do you really want that? Again, more often than not in this game, you kind of want to have lethal on your attacks. Enables use of Edelgard to meet your Claude's combat art, spend some of their remaining engage turns. This is more of like you burn your engage meter to get some special attacks in. You have access to Ymir, Fail Not, and Eridbar. The 3 weapons of the 3 heads of the houses. And you have weapon sync. If unit initiates combat using same weapon type as a synced emblem, grants +7 if engaged, grants plus attack 7 regardless of weapon type. Overall, pretty okay-ish. Not the best. You have Lineage, which is pretty much what this bracelet is for. You get +5 strength and defense. You have Bogard +5. But if you want Bogard +5, especially on your flying, like that doesn't really negate any much. You don't really negate a lot of damage. So it's great to have +5 on Bogard, but like you don't really need it. Same with strength and dex +5. While that would be great, it's more of a filler skill than anything else. It doesn't really stand out. You get axe proficiency, lance proficiency, and bow proficiency just to represent the 3 houses. And this is your attack. Your houses unite, Aimer, Eridbar, and Fail Not at 50% damage 3 times. Overall, solid bracelet with the cream of the crop being Lineage. Once again, nothing to write home about, but it's pretty okay. It's pretty solid, I would say. With that being said, the final bracelet, as of right now, we still have a couple more bracelets coming in on Wave 3 DLC, so we'll come back and revisit this. But for now, with the final house, because of Lineage at least, I will put that into B tier because that's the only thing you use it for, to be honest. It's 150 SP to learn. You can put it on everybody, +20 experience. Really great tool, especially if you're starting out in the game. You get that extra XP partnered up with Tiki. Amazing combo. And that is it. That is my official tier list for the Fire Emblem Engage emblems. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. It got quite long. I was hoping that we can cut this down to much shorter in time, but I got into it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this, and we'll make more of these amazing lists in the future. Have a wonderful day. Be excellent to each other and break your limits. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.